in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 realizations of enlightened people that they never tell you, or if they do, they say it in cryptic type ways. But once you know these 3 things, it will turn your world inside out. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're going to go deep into understanding the perspectives, the realizations. We say realizations when it comes to enlightened people. I remember I saw a quote from Osho once, and he was talking about how enlightenment is not something you can attain. That's the thing. Everyone's like, I want to attain enlightenment. I'm here and I want to be here because up here there's this blissed out Samadhi state and I could do really cool things. However, you can't get from here to here, because the more that you emphasize that you're here and you want to be here, that attainment becomes even more unreachable. That's why what Osho said is that enlightenment is a realization. Enlightenment is a realization that you're already up here. We're just pretending, and we have these veils around us, these filters that keep us thinking that we're here. And that's why enlightenment is more about undoing than it is attaining, because we're undoing the social conditioning. We're undoing the thought patterns that don't serve us. We're letting go of what no longer serves us, and then by doing that, we raise our frequency back up to that of enlightenment, which is our natural state of being. So first off, that's one of the parts of understanding this whole idea of enlightenment, is that it's who you naturally are. Because we are immortal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. And when we come into this reality, one of the things that happens is we forget who we are. We forget that we are immortal spiritual beings. We forget that we exist in a high state of consciousness, a high state of vibration. And part of the purpose of life is to remember this. That's what makes Earth such a difficult place. Earth is a difficult place because we forget who we are and we have to go through a process of remembering. When in actuality, we are so much more than we can imagine. So that's why this video, I'm going to be sharing some very deep ideas with you of understanding how reality works, and that of the perspectives and the knowings of that of enlightened people. So the first one I want to talk about is actually something that was inspired to me, or inspired by the book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda. It's a book that was written a long time ago. It is a book that Steve Jobs himself read every year the last 40 years of his life. That's a good book. If you're going to read it every year for 40 years, it's also a pretty big book. So I could see that happening. And it's somebody recommended it to me. Actually, the person that does my hair, her name's Jackie. She's like, "Yo, Aaron, check out this book, Autobiography of a Yogi. I think you're going to like it." And I was like, everyone tells me, I've heard about that book. I don't know if it resonates with me, but hey, what do I have to lose? So I go, I get it on my on Amazon, I get it on my iPad, I start reading it. And it's actual stories from Yogananda, who's an enlightened soul that came here, or what he did is he was from India. He brought yoga to the West back in the mid-20th century. And he talks firsthand about his experiences with other enlightened gurus or other enlightened people. And the experiences that he had are coming. You can tell they're authentic. You can just read the book and find out for yourself. But in general, they are what we would deem as magical experiences. Many of these things that he experienced with other enlightened people. Things that seem almost like impossible, whether it has to do with information that he got from other people, whether it has to do with levitation, or whether it has to do with literally dematerialization of certain gurus in front of him or certain enlightened people. And you hear these firsthand experiences and what he learned along the process of attaining enlightenment, or of going through this path that he did. And just read the book to see if it resonates with you. It did for me, and it's a really well-known book for what it is. And in it, I've had many realizations through reading it. And one of them, by the way, is one of the cool parts about the book too is he has a guru that is the person that's not training him, but the person that he's under. His name's Sri Yukteswar. I can never know if I'm saying that right. One of the cool parts of the book is Sri Yukteswar is like his enlightened guru that's kind of priming him to come to the West and like priming him and helping him along the process. And he's a really cool guy, really cool enlightened guy. And when he passes away, a while later, Yogananda is very sad about it, obviously. Yogananda eventually goes into a deep meditation, and Sri Yukteswar comes back and tells him what the afterlife is like, what the fourth dimension is like, or what it's like in the astral planes. And it's a whole entire chapter of it. It's very deep stuff, but it was one of the most mind-blowing things I've read because it really resonated with me. It talks about the astral planes and how we decide to come to Earth and how we're really connected to the source energy of unconditional love. That's who we really are. And that's kind of a tangent, but anyways, it's really cool to read. So Autobiography of Yogi, pretty much you're like, okay, maybe I'll get the book now. And part of it, though, is the things he learned along the process. And one of the things that he talks about, he actually has a speech on YouTube I was watching. I thought it was really interesting. He talks about how, and this is the first thing that enlightened people know, but may not tell you, or maybe kind of cryptic, it's that everything you see in your life, everything, it's made up of light. It is all moving pictures that we think is real. It is moving in different constellations of light, but we think it's real. And use this analogy. You've got that of a film projector. It's projecting out onto a screen. You see the light. You know that there's individual frames that are being quickly moved through that make this illusion of continuity that we can see. But you know that there's individual frames in there. At the same time, you know that what's being projected on the wall is a movie, is some type of story, and isn't actually real. However, it is made up of light. In the same way, our life experience on earth is the same exact thing. We look at it and we give it meaning. Just like you may look at that of a film projector, watch a movie, and suspend belief for a short period of time so that you can immerse yourself in the movie. In the same way you may do that, you have suspended your belief right now in this life and given validity to that of everything you experience. Saying this is real, this moving picture is real. All these things I'm experiencing, because I can experience it through the five senses, it must be real. However, it's all made of light. Shakespeare himself said, and has a quote that has to do with knowing that in life, the life is a stage, and everyone is an actor or an actress playing their part. In the same way, this is the stage of life. And at higher dimensional states of consciousness, you chose to come here. And when you chose to come here, one of the things that you decided is that you were going to have, and you were going to bring your homies. You were literally going to bring your homies. You're like, yo, let's go incarnate on this planet Earth. There's this transformation thing happening right now. We're going to be able to remember who we are. And this is the part you're going to play. And some of the homies, you were like, you're going to play a part where you're going to take my lunch sack in 5th grade. And I'm not going to be very happy about it. I'm going to develop these negative beliefs thinking that everyone's always trying to take stuff from me. You, over there, you're going to play somebody that ends up backstabbing me. And there's some parts of the play that were planned out. In the same way that you might have a script that is somewhat planned out. And all of these individual scripts and scenes that come into the movie are there for a purpose of experience, of lessons, and as painful as it may be, there's beauty in that. You say, what do you mean there's beauty in that? Listen, don't want to get too much into my story or anything, but I've been through a lot of stuff growing up, especially my childhood. And it would seem really like, why would you even say that? Why would I say that I chose to have an abusive stepmom? Why would I say that? Well, at a certain level of consciousness, that abusive stepmom, and going through that stuff from the age of 7 to 15 years old, and 15 now, I don't have to ever talk to her again, that period of my time caused a lot of resistance. And I looked at that and been like, why did this happen? Why was she so mean? Why did I have to go through this control and all this manipulation? But guess what? It led to an eventual spiritual awakening because it caused the pressure. Could it have been that part of the script was, hey, you're going to be abusive and mean. and That's how you're going to be, because it's going to lead me to my spiritual awakening. And she was like, out of compassion and love, she's like, okay, I'm going to be very mean. I'm going to be very not compassionate. Well, I'm going to pretend to be not compassionate out of compassion, so that you can learn to love yourself more and you can go through these lessons. Could it have been that? Possibly, because, like Shakespeare says, earth is a play. People play in their parts. Some of these things that we decided were at higher levels of consciousness, things that we agree to. You chose your parents. You may not want to hear that. I get it. You chose your parents. You chose the time you came onto earth with the astrological parts that were coming into the numerology so that it could keep you on a certain path. Not that that has all power over you, but the unconsciousness of people, many times that energy will carry them until they become aware, and then they start to create their own reality, and they have a little bit more conscious control, or a lot more conscious control over what they experience. But could it have been that you chose these aspects so that you could go through this process on earth that's happening right now, where more and more people are waking up to who they are? You see, enlightened people understand that there's these different levels of consciousness, and that there's not just the ego. We identify with the ego, the five senses, sense perceptions. Enlightened people know you must go beyond the ego. You must go beyond the ego. You must go beyond the stimulation of the sense perceptions to get into a state of a higher level of consciousness. And the way that you do that is through not identifying with the five senses and the avatar self. This is literally an avatar. We are using this. We're immortal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences, experiencing reality through the five senses, thinking this is who I am, until we become and have a spiritual awakening and we go, wait, yes, I experience reality through the five senses, but it's a vehicle. We've been identified with the vehicle for most of our life, thinking this is who we are. In the same way I might get into my car and think, this is who I am, and identify with it. We've done the same thing with our own bodies. Now, that doesn't mean we reject the body. It means we integrate it and we're aware of it, but it means we also, at the same time, are aware that we are so much more. So much more. So much more. Anyways, that's one thing that the enlightened people know, but will not tell you. But they may, but they normally don't. The second thing that all enlightened people know, but they don't tell you, is that you are a piece of source energy. There. I said it. You're a piece of source energy. How does that make you feel? You're like, what the hell is source energy, Aaron? You are part of the divine. You are divine. We grow up identifying ourselves with our ego self, like I was talking about a minute ago. Thinking we're not special, thinking we don't have a purpose, or thinking that things are happening to us. The truth is, most people go about in their life worshiping the puzzle because of their belief systems, how they were brought up. However, the key is knowing you are a piece of that puzzle. Whatever you want to call it, source energy, the universe, God. This level of consciousness you have within you. It's who you are. In the same way that everything in our life is light, vibrating at different frequencies, and that it's all an illusion so that we can learn experiences, because when we wake up in higher states of consciousness, we realize, whoa, that was a crazy dream that I identified with. But now I see this is who I am. Just like when you go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning and go, whoa, crazy dream, but this is who I am. Same thing, same kind of thing. However, when it comes to this process, understand that this is about integrating into your experience, knowing you are so much more than you can imagine. Now, another part of this as well is knowing that everything in our life is connected. Everything. What you put out is what you get back, because what you do to someone else, you do to another aspect of yourself. I know that's very deep. I get it. But that's the thing. What you do to someone else, they call it karma, comes back to you because that other person is another aspect of your own consciousness. And it's deep, but it's true. And when you go around, I remember watching this video with Satguru. You guys know Satguru? He's a happy guru, but his name's Satguru. He's like one of the most well-known, like, enlightened people on YouTube. He's got 2 million subscribers or something like that. And he was talking about his enlightenment experience. He was on top of Chandani Hill or something like that. He was on this hill, and he's on this hill, and he was looking out, and all of a sudden, tears start flowing down his face. And he could not figure out where he began and where he ended, because he dropped the identification with his form, and he then saw that this is one big cosmic dream, and we're the dreamer, and we are the dream at the same time. He realized he didn't know where he started, where he began, because he expanded outside of his own body level consciousness. You are not just the drop in the ocean, but you are also the ocean in the drop. When Satgurus became aware of that, that's why he started crying. He had that realization. Because everything is connected, but everything is another aspect, another part of this cosmic dream. You are both the dreamer and the dream. Like I said, it's a mind-blowing idea. But it's true. You're so much more you can imagine. It's just that we're in a way led to believe that this is all that we are. We're just this little ego structure. This is who we are. This is what we experience in our life. I can just experience life through the 5 senses. Yay! In actuality, though, then what happens is you start to wake up to more and more, and you're like, whoa, I'm so much more. I'm so much more than I can even imagine. And this doesn't mean your ego just gets bigger. It just means you disidentify with just being the ego. You're like, I'm more than just the ego. And when you realize that, that's when you start to embody more of your true energy. So, how do you do that? You start dropping labels. Drop those labels. Drop identifications. I'm this kind of person. I make YouTube videos. This is who I am. That's a limitation. Because I'm an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience, baby. That's who I am. You are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. And you could say, I am this person who makes this and who does this. Even if it's something really cool. But it's still a limitation. Because you are so much more. And enlightened people do not limit themselves. They do not put labels on themselves. You ask them who they are, they'll tell you, I'm nobody. Or they'll say something very mysterious, like, who is asking that question? I think that Ramana, somebody said that. Who is the one asking that question? And you're like, I don't even know. What do I even say to that? So here's the third thing that all enlightened people know but won't tell you. I also learned this from Satguru, and other enlightened people as well. Enlightenment is not something you attain, like I was mentioning earlier. Enlightenment is something you are. Lately on my YouTube channel, I've been teaching people between thinking, doing, and being. We want to get rid of the thinking and the doing, and we want to move into being. You get in life a reflection of who you are. What you think and what you do are like little ripples on the edge of the ocean. The greater part of who you are is this being. The reason this is so cool and this is so important is because everything that we believe to be true for the most part is hearsay. You know, our beliefs create our reality. To be enlightened, you actually let go of beliefs. You don't attain new ones. I remember I went to a conference. You guys know, I don't know if you guys know who Bashar is. Bashar, channeled by Daryl Inca. I've been to like 3 or 4 of his seminars. And it's like a Q&A thing where you ask Bashar questions, right? So I go up there and I think I got like the best question ever. I'm like, this question is going to blow people's minds. They're going to be like, whoa, who is this guy? It's like before I really got on YouTube. I was like, I just got this really unique question. I've listened to thousands of hours of his talks. I don't know thousands, but a lot. And I've read his books and all that stuff. And I knew a lot of the questions that were asked. And I go up and I ask my question. And I say, enlightened people, Buddha, Jesus, these enlightened people, what were their belief systems? Because he always talks about how beliefs create our reality. What were their belief systems? And I thought he was going to tell me something really cool. He did say something cool, but it wasn't what I expected. He said, they were enlightened. They moved beyond belief. They moved into knowing. When you become enlightened, you you get rid of beliefs. You no longer need them because you know the truth. The truth may be that this is all light. It's all a motion picture. It looks real. It's not real. Because it's not real, now it's a little bit more flexible. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So, Beyond that though, you move out of the thinking and the doing and the beliefs and all this stuff, you move into being present to the moment. Something I learned from Satguru is people would tell him things and he would like be interested, but he wouldn't necessarily pile it on and then that be his belief system. Instead what he would do is he would go experience it for himself. We all, most of us, believe what our parents tell us growing up, what our environment tells us, and instead of that, why don't we just experience it? My buddy Ryan Cropper, who's also a YouTuber as well, something I admire about him, when he does like astral projection and like all these really cool things, when he does it and we talk, he's like, well, I tried this one time and I did this one time, and everything he talks about is from experience. He's not like telling me, well, theoretically, if you want to astral project, I read it in a book once from Robert Monroe. It's what no. Experience it. Experience life. Somebody tells you,
Yes.
what? Somebody tells you that
Which one? Jim P.H. Vardy's or Julian Maynard?
what? Siri, please stop. I'm doing a video.
Okay.
When it comes to this, it's about understanding. Come on, Siri. What was I talking about? Okay, being. Okay, so experience. I kind of remember where I'm at now. Experience. Is that the word that triggers Siri? Siri, please be quiet.
I'm here.
Siri, please be quiet. Experience.
Yes.
Siri, stop.
Done.
I'm going to leave up. Experience. Okay, here we go. Experience. So instead of people telling you, I'm getting a little too close now. Instead of people telling you things, learn from experience. That's the word that triggers her. So learn from that, because when you learn from that, what you do is you develop your own beliefs, your own way of relating to the world, and as you do that, what you find is that you can really embody more of what you want. Like for example, if somebody tells you, hey, I remember I was at the gym recently and someone's like, oh, getting old is like this, and things get slower when you get older and all this stuff. By the time you're 40 or 50, you'll see what I mean. And I was like, one ear, out the other. It's like, that doesn't have to be my experience, bro. So in the same way, when people tell you things, if you don't want to believe it, just in one ear, out the other. Experience it for yourself. The truth is, in reality, all truths are true. Whatever we believe to be true is reflected back to us. Go beyond belief. Go into being. Being to the present moment right now. Be in it. Be it. Because you are naturally enlightened. It's just that these filters keep you in this little haze of saying, oh, I'm just the ego self, I'm just this avatar, this is who I am. No, you are so much more. You are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience, and now on the planet is the time of remembering that. So that's the key. And for this, something that I'm doing right now, I have a meditation that'll help you to shift your level of consciousness. One of the most powerful meditations I've ever made. It's going to be in the top of the description box below. And it will help you to let go of these filters and to understand more of who you are. Listen to it for 21 days and watch what happens in your life. Read the comments on the video just to see what's possible. It's in the top of the description box. Also, I'll be doing more live communities on Instagram. So if you want to interact with me there, I will be doing live Q&As, and I will also be doing daily posts. So you can catch more content over there. Experience. That doesn't work. It only works when I'm in the video, and I don't want it to happen because I'm in the flow. But maybe it's because I also turned the sound off. But anyways, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification gear next to the subscribe button so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.